I also want to ask another readiness issue facing the Air Force, climate change. The Defense Department's most recent report on climate change discussed the impact of this human-caused problem on our military operations and bases. This report included a statement by the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, General Dunford, who said, quote, "When I look at climate change, it's in the category of sources of conflicts around the world and things we'd have to respond to." General Goldfein, just a simple yes or no on this one is fine, and then I have some follow-ups. Do you agree with General Dunford?
I do, ma'am. I do think if there's time at the end, I'd like to sort of qualify where I think he was going with that.
Sure. But let me ask, does adapting military bases and other infrastructure to climate change contribute to Air Force readiness?
It does, ma'am. I think what General Dunford was referring to, though, is that, I mean, if you go back, if you take a look at Syria as an example, most don't remember what caused the Syria conflict to start. It started because of a 10-year drought.
Yes, water.
And folks having to move from their family farms into cities where they then were not getting any support, and therefore a civil war began. I think what Chairman Dunford was talking about is that we have to respond militarily very often to the effects globally of climate change.
Good. So let me ask, do you think it is prudent for the Air Force to incorporate climate change when making strategic decisions, like strategic basing decisions, for example?
Senator, let me take that one. We
Sure.
just published an infrastructure investment strategy, and we also just finished a major piece of work on weather. And maybe the Air Force looks at these things more because weather is such a big impact on us for all of our flying operations every day, and we're the ones responsible for weather forecasting around the globe. The infrastructure strategy looks at resilience and how do we get more out of every dollar that we spend. So there's a number of pieces of that strategy, but the resilience of our bases is very important because we fight from our bases. We don't leave our bases to fight, we fight from our bases. And so their resilience is very important too.
And how would you rate Air Force installations as a whole in terms of their climate resilience?
Senator, it probably varies a lot. I couldn't give you a red, yellow, or green chart on that at this point, but I know that overall we've got significant infrastructure challenges overall from a number of factors.
Well, I see that the Air Force is requesting nearly $5 billion in emergency funds to rebuild Air Force bases in Florida and Nebraska alone that were damaged by natural disasters. So I think it's very important that the Air Force and the other military services continue to incorporate climate change in their planning so that when disaster strikes, the impact on operations is minimal. This clearly is a readiness issue. So thank you for your work on this.